Katie Casey was baseball mad, had the fever and had it bad. Just to root for the hometown crew, every sou Katie blew. On a Saturday, her young beau called to see if she'd like to go to see a show, but Miss Kate said no. I'll tell you what you can do. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Parts 1, 2, 3, strikes and you're out. You're out of the old ball game. Katie Casey saw all the games, knew the players by their first names, told the umpire he was wrong all along, good and strong. When the score was just 2-2, Katie Casey knew what to do, just to cheer up the boys she knew. She made the gang sing this song. You are listening to Filthy Armenian Adventures. And it is time to say that sweet, sad goodbye to summer. With all its flings and things, with all its lethargic privileges. But not before we commemorate a very special voice. A voice of summer. A voice of some 10,854 afternoons and evenings over 67 years, from 1950 to 2016. A voice that narrated entire childhoods, entire careers, entire friendships. A voice that kept an overstretched city together, united. A voice that almost nobody ever disagreed with. A lyrical, conscientious voice that knew what it was talking about but never showed off. That filled the blue air with tales and lore, but never lost its grip of the action. A voice that defined a game, that defined a nation on its rise to power. But first, before we pay tribute to that voice, a few words from historian Jacques Barzun about the game that gave us the voice. Whoever wants to know the heart and mind of America had better learn baseball, the rules and realities of the game, and do it by watching first some high school or small town teams. The big league games are too fast for the beginner, and the newspapers don't help. To read them with profit, you have to know a language that comes easy only after philosophy has taught you to judge practice. Here is scholarship that takes effort on the part of the outsider, but it is so bred into the native that it never becomes a dreary round of technicalities. The wonderful purging of the passions that we all experienced in the fall of '51, the despair groaned out over the fate of the Dodgers, from whom the league pennant was snatched at the last minute, give us some idea of what Greek tragedy was like. Baseball is Greek in being national, heroic, and broken up in the rivalries of city-states. How sad that Europe knows nothing like it. Its interstate politics follow no rules that a people can grasp. At least Americans understand baseball, the true realm of clear ideas. That baseball fitly expresses the powers of the nation's mind and body is a merit separate from the glory of being the most active, agile, varied, articulate, and brainy of all group games. It is of and for our century. Tennis belongs to the individualistic past, a hero or at most a pair of lovers or friends against the world. The idea of baseball is a team, an outfit, a section, a gang, a union, a cell, a commando squad. In short, a 20th century setup of opposite numbers. Baseball takes its mystic nine and scatters them wide. A kind of individualism thereby returns, but it is limited. Eternal vigilance is the price of victory. Just because they're far apart, the outfield can't dream or play She Loves Me Not with daisies. The infield is like a steel net held in the hands of the catcher. He is the psychologist and historian for the staff, or else his signals will give the opposition hits. The value of his headpiece is shown by the ironmongery worn to protect it. The pitcher, on the other hand, is the wayward man of genius whom others will direct. They will expect nothing from him but virtuosity. He is surrounded, no doubt, by mere talent, unless one accepts that transplanted acrobat, the shortstop. What a brilliant invention is his role despite its exposure to ludicrous lapses. One man to each base, and then the freelance, the troubleshooter, the movable feast for the eyes, whose motion animates the whole foreground. The rules keep pace with this imaginative creation so rich in allusions to real life. How excellent, for instance, that a foul tip muffed by the catcher gives the batter another chance. It is the recognition of chance that knows no argument. But on the other hand, how wise and just that the third strike must not be dropped. This points to the fact that near the end of any struggle, life asks for more than is needful in order to clinch success. A victory has to be won, not snatched. We find also our American innocence in calling World Series the annual games between the winners in each big league. The world doesn't know or care and couldn't compete if it wanted to, but since it's us children having fun, why, the world is our stage. I said baseball was Greek. Is there not a poetic symbol in the new meaning, our meaning, of Ruth hits Homer? Once the crack of the bat has sent the ball skimming left of second between the infielder's legs, 6 men converge or distend their defense to keep the runner from advancing along the prescribed path. The ball is not the center of interest, as in those vulgar, predatory games like football, basketball, and polo. Man running is the force to be contained. His getting to first or second base starts a capitalization dreadful to think of. Every hit pushes him on. Bases full and a homer make 4 runs, while the defenders, helpless without the magic power of the ball lying over the fence, cry out their anguish and dig up the sod with their spikes. But fate is controlled by the rules. Opportunity swings from one side to the other because innings alternate quickly, keep up spirit in the players, interest in the beholders. So does the profusion of different acts to be performed: pitching, throwing, catching, batting, running, stealing, sliding, signaling. Blows are similarly varied: flies, Texas leaguers, grounders, baseline fouls. Praise God, the human neck is a universal joint, and there is no set pace. Under the hot sun, the minutes creep as a deliberate pitcher tries his feints and curves for 3 strikes called, or conversely walks a threatening batter. But the batter is not invariably a tailor's dummy. In 1/100th of a second, there may be a hissing rocket down right field, a cloud of dust over first base, the bleachers all a yell, a double play, and the other side up to bat. Accuracy and speed, the practiced eye and hefty arm, the mind to take in and readjust to the unexpected, the possession of more than one talent, and the willingness to work in harness without special orders. These are the American virtues that shine in baseball. There has never been a good player who was dumb. Beef and bulk and mere endurance count for little, judgment and daring for much. Baseball is among group games played with a ball what fencing is to games of combat. But being spread out, baseball has something sociable and friendly about it that I especially love. It is graphic and choreographic. The ball is not shuttling in a confined space as in tennis, nor does baseball go to the other extreme of solitary wanging and counting, stopped on the brink of pointlessness like golf. Baseball is a kind of collective chess with arms and legs in full play under sunlight. How adaptable, too. 3 kids in a backyard are enough to create the same quality of drama. All of us in our tennis days have pounded balls with a racket against a wall for practice, but that is nothing compared with batting in an empty lot or catching at twilight with a fella who'll let you use his mitt when your palms get too raw. Every part of baseball equipment is inherently attractive and of a most enchanting functionalism. A man cannot have too much leather about him, and a catcher's mitt is just the right amount for one hand. It's too bad the chest protector and shin pads are so hot and at a distance, so like corrugated cardboard. Otherwise, the team is elegance itself in its striped knee breeches and loose shirts, colored stockings and peaked caps. Except for brief moments of sliding, you can see them all in one eyeful, unlike the muddy hecatombs of football. To watch a football game is to be in prolonged neurotic doubt as to what you're seeing. It's more like an emergency happening at a distance than a game. I don't wonder the spectators take to drink, but who has ever seen a baseball fan drinking within the meaning of the act? He wants all his senses sharp and clear, his eyesight above all. He gulps down soda pop, which is a harmless way of replenishing his energy by the ingestion of sugar diluted in water and colored pink. Happy the man in the bleachers. He is enjoying the spectacle that the gods on Olympus contrived only with difficulty when they sent Helen to Troy and picked their teams. And the gods missed the fun of doing this by catching a bat near the narrow end and measuring hand over hand for first pick. In Troy, New York, the game scheduled for 2 p.m. will break no bones, yet it will be a real fight between Southpaw Dick and Red Larson. For those whom civilized play doesn't fully satisfy, there will be provided a scapegoat in a blue suit, the umpire, yell-proof and even-handed as justice, which he demonstrates with outstretched arms when calling safe. And the next day in the paper, learned comment, statistical summaries, and the verbal imagery of meta-euphoric experts. In the face of so much joy, one can only ask, were you there when Dog-Faced Joe parked the pellet beyond the pale? Hey, this is your host, Alec Mohibian, with a quick message before we continue. Based in that great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California, Filthy Armenian Adventures is an interdimensional travel program that takes you deep into the cultural mysteries of our time. In search of truth, in search of gold, in search of lost friends and unsung heroes, in search of John Galt's motor. This show is your antidote to the black pill. This is your guide to the places, the personalities, the ideas and creations the enemies of man don't want you to know. This is your techno-noir investigation into the good, the evil, and the God hiding under our noise. This is where you get the news before it breaks, before it blows, before it burns. The show is supported entirely by patrons at patreon.com/filthyarmenian. As a patron, you get access to twice as many adventures, including the most important ones, the ones with the real facts. Plus, regular brief smoke break spiritual reports on topics of the day. As a patron, you also get exclusive access to our Smash live events. Ask anyone who's attended one, and they will tell you it's an experience you'll never forget. It's very easy to keep Filthy Armenian Adventures alive. You can still listen to the show on your favorite app like Spotify or Apple, and you can do so with the pride that you're putting a little bit of money where your soul is. More patrons means more fuel, more topics, more investigations, more miracles, more secret locations, and forbidden territories around the world, and the world that is Los Angeles, our post-apocalyptic headquarters. It means we'll be able to track down more enchanting figures in the landscape, dare them to abandon their masks, and join our quest out of the darkness and into a golden age. Patreon.com/filthyarmenian. Thank you for being one of the good ones, and enjoy the show.
Well, we've had all the introductions. We've had all the pomp and circumstance. We've had all the fuss and feathers. But it's time. It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome back to the back wall. We don't have a sponsor today. We just don't have a sponsor. However, it is a special episode. We're going to be paying tribute to the late great Vin Scully, and we're playing through injury right now. We're playing through adverse conditions. We're a reactionary podcast. People used to play through injury back in the day, and that's what we're going to do. We're not like these new guys. We're sitting out. Armenian's on the other side of the world right now.
All the way.
Where are you right now? You've been to like 5 different places.
I've been to a lot of places, but now I'm truly on the other side of the world. I'm in Yerevan, Armenia, right now. Some would call it the motherland. Some would call it the pink labyrinth city. Some would call it. There's a lot of things you can call Yerevan. It's a very interesting place. I do want to. We don't have. We didn't get the check, perhaps.
No.
But in honor of Vin Scully, we have to give a shout out to Farmer John Hot Dogs, because that was his product that he shilled through the decades.
Silly me! I didn't check my spam. I didn't check my spam folder. There's the check from Farmer John's Hot Dogs. Okay, welcome back to the back wall, sponsored by Farmer John. Anyways, go on. Yeah,
Farmer John Hot Dogs, the shittiest hot dogs in the world. We got to say the Dodger dog is the most overrated, overhyped, pointless fucking little stick of meat you've ever seen. It pains me to say that, but that is the truth. Like there's no, don't skip your wedding to have a Dodger, to go to Dodger Stadium and have a Dodger dog. Just saying.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Do people do that? I don't after
know.
Their wedding? No.
There's probably some Mexicans who have done it, and I think that Mexicans are a big part of the equation here because we're talking about we're talking about baseball in LA.
Absolutely.
I don't want to jump the gun, but it's a big part of it. Like,
yep,
I
exactly.
think we've talked about this before. Like Vin Scully, R.I.P. Wonderful man, narrator of my childhood, along with Chick Hearn, truly the narrator of my childhood. And not only my childhood, but going all the way back to, I believe, 1959. That's when he began with the Dodgers, when they were still in Brooklyn.
Correction, 1950. It was 1950 when he began with the Dodgers in Brooklyn, and he came over to Los Angeles with them in 1958, and he remained their voice until 2016, 67 seasons, at which point he retired at the age of 88. I make a lot of numerical errors throughout this obituary, which we recorded right after he died, so I just wanted to correct the record. 1950, 67 seasons of Vin.
And he moved over, and so his voice has been one of the most consistent things in the history of Los Angeles. And in any way you look at it, I mean, from 1959 until from the moment the Dodgers arrived in, I believe it was 1960, or was it 59 season? I don't remember the exact season, but until when did he retire? Like 2015?
2016.
16. So that is 55 years, 56 years in LA. There's nothing else that's been that there's no show in LA that's lasted 56 years with 162 episodes per season. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that it was as consistently a part of the sonic fabric of Los Angeles than Vin Scully in the history
100%.
of the city.
And he was again, we will be calling back to him, and there is another star who was kind of a adversary to LA that I wanted to talk about that we lost earlier this week as well. But the thing with Vin Scully is it wasn't just Dodger games either. I've always known that he called it's one of my favorite calls, the Bill Buckner in the '86 World Series. That was him.
Can you believe this ball game at Shea?
Oh, brother.
So the winning run is at second base with 2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
And he has just that, the way he says behind the bag, like, it's no like it went through his legs, because it truly was so shocking. He was able to do that where he didn't just lose his mind like guys do now. I'm sorry, I don't like Gus Johnson in college football. I don't like him. It's annoying. It's weird. It's Reddit. I don't know. Like this, like, oh my gosh, he's going to the house, and it's like Minnesota versus Nebraska 30-point game. Like, it just, not able to. Vin Scully was able to just, his call on Bill Buckner, the ball goes through his legs. For anybody who hasn't seen Game 6 of the 1986 World Series, maybe I'd like to do that sometime. That would be a good one. But the Bill Buckner had a chance to put the game away. There's definitely some trutherism to, like, who else aided in the demise of the Red Sox in that game. But it goes through his legs, and Vin Scully goes, Mookie Wilson, ground ball to first base, behind the bag. That's just all he says, because that's all you can say. You're like, why is the ball behind the bag right now? It's like, he had that you know what I'm saying? I went to school for broadcasting. I didn't graduate, but like, I know how hard it is to just be that natural,
It's really something, because like he had this knack, that's a perfect example of it, where he he never said the obvious thing.
If one picture is worth 1,000 words, you have seen about 1,000,000 words. But more than that, you have seen an absolutely bizarre finish to Game 6 of the 1986 World Series. The Mets are not only alive, they are well, and they will play the Red Sox in Game 7 tomorrow.
And he was never on the nose. I mean, never like painted it.
Right.
He had this way of getting at. There was also this elegance to it, because he's not going to say, "Oh, the idiot went through the idiot's legs." Like he would never say that. He would never. There was part of this was that like, and this is another thing, by the way, that I was steeped in, but much like Chick Hearn, he would never allow himself to be a homer,
Right.
in a real way. Like he never did. It was unprofessional to be a homer, according to someone of that stature, which it is. It's like if you're at the top of the game, you don't do that. And he was never a homer. And in the similar sense, like even though the Red Sox are not his team, he was never a homer of the moment. Like he would never sell out for the
Right.
sheer hysteria of the moment. He was never like that. And so he always had this elegant way of putting something that earned him the title of Bard of the Diamond or whatever. I'm calling it now, but like this poetic reputation he had was precisely because of behind the bag, and not because of the heckler style, like chimping on the sideline type of type of a play-by-play. It'd be truly something. There's so much to say about it. Maybe we can start the game and we can continue going, but like that's
I'll
great.
put it on right now. Yeah, exactly. We'll roll into it. But
yeah,
exactly.
I mean, there's so much to marvel about his gifts. I don't have like a roster of his. I know that the end of this game, the Kirk Gibson game, has one of his like trademark moments, and I don't even know if I want to give it away, because I think we can just build up to it. But it sort of feeds into what we're saying. It's another example of him instinctively doing the right thing and not so much the obvious thing, in that great moment at the end. And I think about, like, for some people, I know, like my grandmothers who never liked baseball would hear his voice and they would be like, "Oh, it's just the sound of boredom."
Yeah.
Like they would say that, and it's like, yeah, but that's because baseball's the game of boredom, and because like life is boredom. America is a country where the long afternoons are supposed to be boring, and that fits. It's true to the spirit of the game. Like he's not. Now I don't think he's boring, by the way, by any stretch of the imagination. But I can see.
I know what you mean.
I can see how, like, yeah.
And he was by himself a lot of the time too. That's the other thing. It's weird when you see old things of him, where he'll have a co-host or whatever, especially when he would do NFL and stuff. He's called a game with John Madden before. Like, it's insane that those two people did a game together.
That's crazy. Yeah. I'd love to watch that.
We will one day. Rams Packers 1981. Rams Packers 1981. They called a game together. How amazing would that be? Like, that's
beautiful.
Yeah, that's like, sorry, this did not download properly, so we may have to do this on the fly. This was like, okay. Yeah, it downloaded. But I will say, in this game, there's a lot of action early, nothing in the middle, a lot of action late. We will be able to skip around in it. Trust me, I know what happened. I've seen this game 3 times before. I know exactly what happens in it. So it's not necessary to call the middle of the game literally nothing happens. Like yep. And so
here's Vin Scully with
Joe Garagiola. There's a name from the past. The guy who wanted to get tobacco out of baseball.
In this case, each starting pitcher trying to get his.
I've never seen him with a partner.
It's really unsettling, to be honest.
He doesn't need a partner. The partners, it's like having a It's like having a co-writer for Shakespeare. It's like, no, he doesn't need a co-writer. He doesn't need
right. Yeah.
You just don't need it.
Bringing in a producer for Prince, you know what I mean? Where you're just like,
producer for
Prince is the band. Yeah, like, no, he's gonna handle all that. Don't worry. Like, it's totally fine.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I want to interrupt.
There's Nancy fucking Reagan.
Peter, I'm delighted to be here to help Major League Baseball salute the Just Say No program. I know it seems
for
like
Just Say No.
Message, Just Say No, but it's an important one.
Oh my God.
All over the country,
this is hilarious.
Learning to say no to drugs. The members of the Just Say No clubs who are here today and the many other young people like them in clubs all across America are really the hope and the promise of the future. They've made a commitment to live drug-free lives so they'll never have to go through the pains of withdrawal or the devastation which drugs cause. These youngsters are fortunate because they can grow and learn and become anything they want to be. So to all of you watching, I ask you to please help us get the message out to our children. If they're offered drugs, tell them to just say no. I'd like to thank Peter Ueberroth and the Major League Baseball for their efforts in the fight against drug abuse.
Yeah.
And taking time to recognize the Just Say No program. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to reach such a large audience.
How funny. That's insane, man.
Message was furnished by
Wow.
And then you get the copyright MLB
A sobering moment.
First pitch with that.
So Tommy Lasorda was on just now, and I guess he was explaining why Kirk Gibson is not going to play, and it's because his leg is broke.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, like we didn't hear what he said, but I'm assuming he was explaining why Kirk Gibson is not in the lineup tonight because he broke his leg, right?
Yeah. Tommy
Lasorda, he's talk about a whore master. I mean, I think he's one of the most prolific whore Johns in LA history as well.
Yeah.
Kind of a overrated poobah of LA lore, Mr. Lasorda. Right, he wasn't the greatest manager, was he? I feel like I've heard nothing but complaints about his manager. He would tend to leave pitchers out there to completely roast way too long, way too slow of a hook. Yet he has this like extremely this regal LA reputation that was it seemed a little bit overcooked. I don't know if I ever bought into it.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that it was longevity was more what's his name? Who's the guy Franco that played for like 30 years until he was like 50, like Julio Franco or something? Like
Julio Franco?
Where can you point to like, which this isn't fair because Tommy Lasorda won and like was, led some huge teams, but like it's one of those ones where people respect how long you did something more than like what you actually did, and that's why Vin Scully's so good, he was the best. That's why Vin Scully's so good because he did both, but Lasorda, he had a lot of down years, like a lot of down years,
and the last several years were absolutely horrible. The last decade.
Kind of like Tom Landry. I would say Tom Landry would be a good cross sport comparison to Lasorda because Landry won like twice, I think, but he was there.
But the thing is that but like Lasorda only won 2 World Series, and it felt like he had way more contenders than that, right? Like I don't know when he started exactly. He only won the 82, or is it 81, or was it 80? And then 88, this one.
Whatever Valens, Fernando Mania and Kirk Gibson.
Fernando Mania and this one.
And Oral Hershiser and Kirk Gibson. So those are who got him rings.
Yeah, and those are both, and I don't know about the first one, but this one was definitely like an Oral Hershiser, like leading them on his back, like pitching 3 games in a series type of deal. I mean, this was the Oral Hershiser year. Like he had a magical season.
Yes, he did. He was unbelievable. And we'll get into my part of this. I'm not alive at this time, so this game doesn't really hurt me at all. Like it's just kind of like whatever, especially because the A's won the next year, so against the Giants, which I'd rather beat the Giants any day of the week in the World Series than the Dodgers, personally, just because coworker, I'm shoulder to shoulder with Giants fans all the time, so it's nice to have that. And then which the Giants fans love to cope because they blame the earthquake on it. Which you guys were already done by the time that happened. I hate to say any revisionist Giants fans. I believe they were already up 2-0 in that series, if not 3-0. They swept them. It was a joke. The A's were an absolute wagon during the late 80s. They only won 1 title, but they went to 3 World Series. They were amazing. They were kind of like a slightly more successful Buffalo Bills of the late 80s, where Buffalo went 0-4. The A's went 1-3. Both times running into 2 kind of unlikely heroes took them out in 88 and 90. Kirk Gibson being one of them, which is only game 1, but Kirk Gibson kind of set the tone for the series that it was going to be kind of magical with this. But in 1990, they were taken down by Jose Rijo and Chris Sabo, 2 guys that, like, if you brought those names up now, people have to Google them, But I was being born while the A's were losing that series. But it's not to be it shouldn't be glossed over that the Dodgers, who end up winning this World Series, they are not better than the A's on paper or anything because of this big Cuban man that's about 4 Pedro Gonzalez's stacked on each other, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire.
And Tony La Russa looks like a young little stud here. You know, I'm another kind of like annoying figure of the 90s who was like revered and hallowed and this kind of like sanctimonious figure as the manager of the Cardinals and like the supposed genius who Buzz Bissinger I think wrote a book about, trying to glorify him as a in contrast to Billy Beane. I think following Moneyball, Buzz Bissinger wrote a blowjob book about Tony La Russa. But here he looks so young, and it's interesting. Interesting character, I think, to revisit one day. And here he is managing the A's.
Yeah, he is. And Tony La Russa of recent, there's a video of him last week falling asleep managing the Chicago White Sox. Right, he fell asleep during the game, which, hey, Leo Mazzoni used to do that all the time. Bobby Cox used to do that all the time. But
wait,
it was
he's still managing?
He's managing the Chicago
La
White Sox.
Russa's still managing?
That's correct. Yes.
Oh my God. So okay.
He's getting DUIs still too. He's getting DUIs still. Yeah.
How old is this motherfucker? Because we're
probably 80.
This is literally 35 years ago.
I think he's about 80 years old.
That's incredible.
Well, Dusty Baker's still. I mean, like,
manager.
Dusty Baker, Buck Showalter. These guys, like, so many of these guys didn't leave, man.
How is it? Is it just because they realize the manager doesn't matter and they know exactly, like, they have it all gamed out now? They don't do any decisions, and like, is that why?
Or you just want to like a guy who there's that. But I also think that's probably why teams are hiring them. But the reason they want to still do it is because, like, dude, when you're used to being gone for 81 games out of the year and pretty much not around for the rest of them, it's probably pretty tough to be home with the wife. I'm just gonna say that much.
Yeah, I imagine. But you would assume that by now your wife doesn't even remember your name. I mean, like, these people are really they're damn. Dusty Baker.
Houston Astros, best team in baseball he's managing right now. It's like, it's insane. Like, and
they should just have Clarence Thomas manage him for a year or something. I mean, I feel like Dusty Baker was never a good manager. I mean, I don't know. He
choke artist, legendary choke artist.
Yeah, weird. I feel like that's kind of cool. I like that they have these. I'd like to see. I'd love to see some like 97-year-old.
Yeah, wheeled out. I remember Jack McKeon won with the Marlins in 2003, and he was like decrepit. Like it was just like almost like a candle, like a melting candle, where like those old people like in the old like Disney movies, like where their skin's like melting off. It's old. That's what he looked like. But the funny thing, what I was saying, that story about La Russa is, he is still managing, and there's a clip going around where he fell asleep right during the game, and like you're thinking in your head, oh, he fell asleep during a game, he's old, it's probably like 6-0 in like the 8th inning, right? Something like that. No, it's in the 1st inning he's falling asleep. Like it's comical. It's
no, but that makes sense. He was getting his rest so he can be strong in the second half, second 5 innings,
so that makes sense. A cup of coffee, Tony, like
it's like, you know what, because he's not gonna. What decisions does a manager make in the 1st inning? None. Right? You've got your starter out there. He's not going to totally fuck things up. You don't have anything to do until the 6th inning anyway. So he probably has figured out yet another edge, which is to take a nap in the early innings for a manager. It's like his latest little Moneyball edge on managing.
Yeah, Dave Parker here was a huge addition to the A's in '88. They traded for him from I want to say the Pirates. He was an old We Are Family 1979 Pirate. Like he's in the later part of his career here, but he came in
not to be
what's that?
No, not to be on that. I not to interrupt, but that little thing text they had up there was reading pretty gay to me. I got
his
the
arm
first
is
few
no
lines,
longer
and it was like.
Right.
It was like pound him up and in. Thrust him on the lower, thrust him over and over and over, never once letting up. Like there were all these, like, it was very strange. It was very cruising style to me.
Can you imagine Vin Scully, and you're gonna pound him up and in.
Pound him up and in.
Give it to him real good. If he screams, that doesn't mean he hates it. Like,
This segment is brought to you by Farmer John Hot Dogs.
Where if you're looking for a place to put your Farmer John hot dog, put it in Dave Parker.
Consider it up and in.
Oh, get it. Your point about the Dodger dogs, by the way, I wholeheartly agree. My family and I, when my mom's from LA. My grandpa grew up listening to Vin Scully on a transistor radio my grandpa was from Kansas, moved to Whittier in like probably the 50s. And then my mom was born in I think it's called La Habra. That's a city down there, right? La Habra.
Alhambra. And there's La Habra.
No, there's a La Habra. It's not Alhambra. Yeah, it's La Habra. It's like it was something. Yeah, that's where my parents are from, or my mom's from, I should say. And when I was 12 years old, they took me to see 3 stadiums because my parents are both big baseball fans. They took me to Angel Stadium, Dodger Stadium, and then Qualcomm Stadium, otherwise known as Jack Murphy, but Padres. And I ended up trying a hot dog at every stadium, right? And I tried so I go to the Angels one first. I'm like, this is good. I was like, damn, like the Angels hot dogs are really good. I hate the Angels, hate them, especially during that time when the 2002 Angels, I hated them. But then I go to the Dodger dog and it's like, oh my gosh, it's supposed to be great. It tastes like bologna, man. I was like, what was this? It was horrible.
Yeah, baloney is the right way to put it. It's a total piece of shit. And it's because look, there's a young Mark McGwire up to the plate right now.
Yeah.
It's also like it is his like second year, I think.
Second,
no, it's not.
It's maybe his rookie year. It might.
Well, his rookie year was 87, I think. But the year he got drafted was 85.
Yes,
and I know this because I have the cards.
Mm-hmm. He was a USC guy too, wasn't he? Wasn't he?
He is a USC guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is a USC guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's back when they had a good program.
Yeah, they had Randy Johnson a couple years later. Like they had an absolute team down there. Southern California. The Southern California baseball is insane. Like especially the high school baseball with Darryl Strawberry playing at one of the craziest. I read this book and I don't remember what it's called. It's Darryl Strawberry playing against, I think, John Elway and Brett Saberhagen in high school in big games, and it was people who wrote about those games. And because I think John Elway,
by the way,
Southern California, really good.
Yeah, he was. And then he went to Stanford. By the way, does James Kaprelian still play for the A's?
Yes, he's in the rotation. They're terrible this year, so he's in the rotation. He gets like chances.
Well, so that's a big moment for us. Why? Because he's Armenian and he also went to UCLA, so he's kind of like he's my avatar out there on the diamond.
He's pretty good. He'll be around for a while. He'll stick around the league. He got injured a lot. He got injured a lot.
He was a first-round pick, right?
By the Yankees and the A's.
He a first-round pick?
Yes, he was a first-round pick by the Yankees.
Yeah.
Big-time prospect in the system, but he had like 2 Tommy Johns in the minors. Like and the A's traded Sonny Gray, and he was part of the package that they got back for him. So I've been following him for a while. Yeah.
I need to find his picture and post it in the group chat for see how excited the women
in the gays, because I don't remember. He's very good looking.
They should like him. I mean, I remember him being quite handsome in college. I think
he looks good.
There, no, he was after me a little bit, but still. But yeah, he's like he's got that Orange County kind of vibe going. Yep. I think he's also, his dad is Armenian, but his mom is not. I believe, but I could be wrong about that.
He looks like pretty white.
Yeah, he looks pretty whitewashed. So, but anyway, sorry for that aside. I just had to. I figured he was playing for the A's.
And more on these the A's. My parents, to set the scene for this year, my parents are season ticket holders. They sold them right when a certain person was born, me, in 1990 when they tightened the belt a little bit. But before that, my parents were partying all through the 80s.
But back then, games were like 50 cents a fucking ticket.
Yeah,
you could go to a game for 50 cents.
So that exactly. And they had like, second deck tickets, like nothing crazy, but it was just something they did all the time. They'd go to the games, and then they had priority for World Series. So they ended up seeing Mark McGwire, who later in the series hits a walk-off home run in one of the other games at the Coliseum. And it's a really like majestic home run, really cool. It's like kind of an underplayed home run just because they lost the series, but that one's really good. They would go all the time. My mom, there was a catcher for Was that Walt Weiss, by the way? Yeah, I think that was Walt Weiss, who was also a very young, promising talent on the A's at this time. But the Tim Belcher looks like he got through the inning with he let Ricky Henderson on base, but so did a lot of people. But other than that, it looked like Tim Belcher got out of that pretty good.
Ricky Henderson knows how to steal those bases like it's almost like it's a misdemeanor. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, it's like Chesa Boudin was the DA of Ricky Henderson's base stealing. Just slap on the wrist. But Ricky Henderson has some of the funniest quotes that like people don't. There needs to be a 30 for 30 on Ricky Henderson because he was like so lovably dumb, like where you just like it was very entertainingly dumb and like would just give you quote, damn, Dave Stewart's headhunting on Steve Sachs already. That's
that
good.
was obvious. That was really
well,
obvious.
but why would it be obvious? Because it's game one of the World Series. You're putting the leadoff hitter on base. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but the Dodgers just hit somebody in the first the Dodgers hit some pitcher hit somebody.
Truly and a different era.
And it's the first pitch of the game.
Yeah,
and you just
he probably didn't want to hit him. He probably didn't want to hit him. He probably wanted to dust him back. I think.
Well, let's see, because this is the first pitch of the entire game, and he's just. It's going straight for his fucking head. I don't know.
Man, Dave Stewart was a fucking dog too, man.
It was a bean straight for his fucking head. And
Dave Stewart was a tranny chaser too. Did you know he was a tranny chaser?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
He got. I believe he played for the Dodgers later in his career, but I think it was in L.A. where the same place Eddie Murphy got caught tranny chasing, like on accident, of course.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was over there.
I haven't gotten fully into the head of a tranny chaser. I should try to do that one day because it's one of these things that. For all my, I'm very, very, very obviously liberal when it comes to that shit. But like, I struggle to understand. I struggle to understand. I understand liking girly boys. I can get that, and I get liking manly girls or whatever. I get all that, but something about knowing that it's a boy underneath there. I feel like it's like you have to be the kind of person who can take wrestling seriously in order to be a tranny chaser.
That's a good one, dude.
I mean, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief going on, and it's like you're walking it specifically into it. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the guy that's both. By the way, that's why.
Right.
Getting sucked off by the tranny. It's like, man, Sting came from the rafters last night, and man, Goldberg was about to win, and yeah.
Yeah, it's
You'll never guess what happened. Yeah, it's like I can't believe that Goldberg didn't fight back there. Something's up. Yeah, that's good. Again, Dave Stewart, Eddie Murphy, known tranny chasers. They both said they didn't know where they were, but it was like I don't know this area, of course, but like this part of LA. There's like a part of LA of the Skid Row or the Strip or something where it's just like Sunset Strip, where it's just like only tranny hookers are there. Like, it's just if you're there, it's because you want to be there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is. But nonetheless, the guy was just an incredible pitcher. Later in 1989, he would have just a wonderful playoff career, just huge big game pitcher. He had threw a no-hitter against a great early 90s Toronto Blue Jays lineup too, which was really tough. I mean, you just have a star. This A's team is just absolutely loaded. Also in the rotation was great. Who would later be, earlier in his career was a great Dodger. Bob Welch was in this rotation as well. Dennis Eckersley, who's going to be a huge part of this game at the end of it. And they're this is a loaded team, man. It's just the talent that they had.
That it seems like a loaded ass team. I mean, Canseco, just the idea of Canseco and McGuire on the same team. And this is back when Canseco is Canseco. Yeah, this is basically his prime,
Oh yeah, when he swam over from Cuba.
Yeah, he never got better than this. It was all downhill from here, and yeah, it's quite the collection of talent.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Dave Henderson. There's another Henderson in center field. He was also very good. Carney Lansford at third base won a batting title later in his career. Terry Steinbach, a wonderful catcher. Just big name. If you're not familiar with baseball, like you don't typically see that many stars in one lineup, especially back then. I mean, it's not right. Like it's not right for them to have all this talent. It's sad that it only accounted for one World Series, but at least they got one.
Yeah, it's also, it underscores the weird time we grew, or I personally was a baseball fan, which was starting, with everything else around 93. And the Dodgers were so frustrating in the 90s. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but we'll talk about it eventually. Like they were a fucking frustrating, like penny pinching, stingy, miserly team that just, they couldn't score any runs. My entire childhood, I never saw the Dodgers score a run. Like it was like they couldn't score. They sucked at bad offense that whole decade. They had good pitching, but the pitching, they would always like lose by one run. They would always lose by one run. And this is something that maybe is sorry, I'm hoping I'm not waking anyone up. Looking at the door.
Yeah.
So okay, this is something that I'm gonna make a leap here. But it seemed to me like 99% of the time Dodgers left runners in scoring position. And it just occurred to me as I was thinking about that this is the ultimate. Holy shit, is that a home run we're watching right now? Yes, it is.
Home run. No, there's a lot of action early. Yeah. Okay,
right,
good.
So there's a home run by, who is it?
Was that Mickey Hatcher? Yeah, it was Mickey Hatcher. Yeah, right. Former. He ended up being the bench coach for Mike Scioscia, who is his teammate in this game.
Right, Mike Scioscia, the catcher,
who was built like Tommy Lasorda. It was like this like secret offspring that Tommy Lasorda had, was like Mike Scioscia. If you look at them,
yeah, that's a good point.
Having long careers, managing the same team, underwhelming more than they were impressing. Like
they're both Italians. They're both Italian, and probably I'm sure the mother was a whore. So anyway, it's okay. 2-1.
Yeah, look, and we're celebrating an Irish man's death today, not an Italian man's death. Let's just say that much.
That's true. It's an Irish man's death. We're celebrating the Irish.
Take that, gift. Twitter.
Today is dedicated.
Take that, Twitter.
Yeah, take that, Twitter.
Fuck. Yeah.
Today we are celebrating the Irish gift for Gab, and that's just the way it is. Like, and that was the same with Chickern. They're all fucking Irish.
Was he Irish?
Yeah,
Hearn. I guess Hearn. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Hearn
maybe.
His name was Francis Hearn. But
totally.
Charles Francis Hearn. So it sounds almost like a I don't know, like a William Randolph Hearst type character. So we've got this situation here.
Yeah, you were getting to.
I was about to get deep into
crazy point. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's my crazy point. Runners in scoring position. What does that remind you? What does it remind you of? To consistently and constantly leave runners in scoring position without having cashed them in, without having scored on their promise. What does it remind you of? It reminds you of the Hollywood industry. It reminds you of the film industry, where 99% of the time the project doesn't fucking get made. 99% of the time you got the actors, you got the money lined up, you got this lined up, you got that lined up. It falls through before it comes home. It's so fucking LA to leave runners in scoring position. And that is what the Dodgers did, like, just to an insane degree in the 90s. Grade my little flourish there. Like, what did that make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely. I thought it was going to be a sex thing at first, like almost fucking.
Oh,
I would have I was like, oh, he's getting to a fucking metaphor. I was like, this is going to be great.
Oh God.
I was like, then you're like,
my reputation is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
My reputation is really in the gutter. Yeah, I really garnered.
I outed myself as almost getting laid a bunch of times. So that, I mean, what is that?
That's true. Yeah. You've really been setting. You've been setting.
Would you rather be? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather be. I'd rather be a guy who has projects get shelved than a guy who can't fuck. So yeah.
Yeah. No, but I've well, I mean, as I play Matador with monkeypox over here in Europe. Obviously I realize that runners in scoring position, there's always already a lot of foreshadowing going on there that will take me to a sexual place. But once in a while, I also love to do a really far-fetched Hollywood-based metaphor.
No, it works. It totally works. Yeah. Like I'm currently reading James Elroy right now, just like going through his catalog. LA guy, topical,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
very LA. I mean, Jesus, like the guy
Oh
is
yeah.
the guy just bleeds LA on the pages, and it's really cool. So I'm reading. I just
Yeah.
finished the Big Nowhere, and I'm on LA Confidential right now. And the Big Nowhere is so funny because it's like, you look up, I'm like, man, this would have been a really cool like TV series, like 1 season TV series for the Big Nowhere. And it's like people tried to get it, like there's like 3 different people that tried to make a series and it just never came out. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things that stop it from happening, but that, one way or another. But it's like, man, like, can I just have that? Like, can I please have that? Can I have the series? Like, but whatever happened there, I'm sure it's some bureaucratic like Hollywood nonsense as to why at least one of them didn't get made.
Oh, yeah. There's there doesn't even need to be like, it could be any number of reasons. It could be like, the number of reasons. All you do in this town. I love to say in this town because that's what they say. But like, all you do is hear stories about this thing that didn't get made and that thing that it gave. It's made a major impact on my psyche. So I'm at this place in the world where the minute I get a whiff of a classic Hollywood project that, it might or might not get made, it's fight or flight, by which I mean flight, because the kid, there's nothing to fight. But it's like the minute I hear that, I'm just like, no, 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 never. Like I have, because I have these projects too, and it's like for me, I seem to my mode is if I'm making something by hook or by crook or by hooking, I'm gonna fucking make that thing, whatever it takes. And if that means it's gonna be a shitty little budget and not the real, but like whatever it is, this notion that it's just gonna hover around forever in this state of possibly reaching home base it is violently off-putting to me. So I've been so scarred by this, and I blame the Dodgers. I guess they should have gotten me used to it, but they didn't. They made sure I'd hate it from the beginning. Runners on score. The Dodgers left 19 runners on scoring position in their 1-run loss.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's totally a thing. The A's do the same thing in the playoffs. Like they would always like
they all do it too. Yeah.
Yeah. During no, the A's of my life were just these insane lineups of Jason Giambi, all these, even Mark McGwire for a little bit, all these big Miguel Tejada, guys that are just winning these MVPs, great pitching staff, Tim Hudson, Barry Zito, Mark Mulder. And like, then they go to the playoffs and everyone would forget how to play baseball. More so than ever. Trading everyone with the A's, they go, well, they trade all their talent. That hasn't been the issue for me. It's the choking that happens that not causes them, but then gets compounded into like, oh, now we ship the talent away. It's like, no, well, I don't mind shipping talent in and out and constantly acquiring prospects. I don't mind that, but like, man, you get to the playoffs more than you don't. Please do something when stop losing to the Twins, stop losing to the Tigers and shit. Like
I really wonder, do you think that, I know that, so okay, the Moneyball people, as far as I'm aware, they tell us that runners in scoring position is meaningless. It's the batting is the same overall. That was always the first Moneyball thing. It's just all it's all recency bias when you get all stirred up about leaving runners in scoring position. Doesn't change anything. And I'm like, okay, I buy that. But on the other hand, does that extra pressure really?
Yeah, no, it's not true at
all. So it's odd. Maybe statistically it's not. I don't know, but it feels like it exists. And then similarly, in baseball, it's not like basketball where there's 75 playoff teams. It's rare to make the playoffs in baseball, especially before, like the older back then, when without the wild card and shit.
Right, yeah.
Is it just that? Like, is it just fucking weird for players to all of a sudden, for the first time ever, have to play in October? Like, is that maybe just not like so weird for any inexperienced group of players? Like, it's just like suddenly you're playing in Christmas. Like, what's going on here?
Right, totally. A couple things on that. So, a couple things that I can glean from that. One, it is totally different when you have a runner on like second base. You feel pressure. You're like, I got to get this guy in. I got to get him over. I got to do something, right? Depending on how many outs you have. And then it is different. I mean, I only played high school, baseball, but I was pretty good, and so I at least know that like within that scale, there's a pressure. But then also like what people make a mistake for is like, oh, how you hit with runners in scoring position doesn't matter because hitting is hitting, and just you shouldn't dictate RBIs is for who you give a big contract to, which I somewhat agree with, right? It's extrapolated on like my problem with analytics is that people try to apply them to like one big game where it's like, no. In this one big game, your little analytics don't matter because it's just mano a mano. Right now, you're over 1,000, game stretch, or this big probability thing that you have. I'm going with my gut right now because of this big game, and that's why I think some managers are just better than others, all in history. And that's always tough. So when you're like, well, 66% of the time over 1,000 scale of 1,000 games or whatever, 1,000 at bats, it's like, okay, but I only have one at bat right now, so I want my guy that I know is just clutch, right? Like there's a reason with Derek Jeter, you're just like, he's clutch. I know he is. I look at him, he's gonna get the big hit. I can just tell. And but then to your point about do hitters forget how to hit in October, I think the problem is with hitting is it doesn't matter how hard you want it when you hit. It's like if you ever swing a baseball bat, if you swing as hard as you can, you're probably not going to hit it. You have to have your mechanics down. You got to like bat to ball. Now, however, when you're a pitcher and you want it, you can fucking rear back and throw your best shit when you're amped up. Tim Belcher's already thrown a couple curveballs that I think have probably been the best of his season, right? Like they just look really good. And it's just way easier to be amped up on the mound, which people who don't play baseball might think like, what are you talking about? I have a piece of wood in my hand and I'm trying to punish a baseball. Man, it's so much more finesse to that. Like it's so much more finesse to hitting than there is to pitching. Pitching is grind. You get your leg as long as your arm is healthy, and you pitch once every 5 days for pitching and starting pitching. You hit every day. You're sore, man, and pitchers figured you out. They've seen you all year. There's these guys don't play each other, and this is pre-interleague play, which so maybe they haven't seen each other that much. But like if you're in the playoffs, like the American League Championship Series, you've played all these guys. The pitchers and pitchers win 7 out of 10 times, even if the hitter's good. So it's tough. It's very tough. It's very tough. I mean, baseball is a frustrating game, man. I've never been more mad in my life than just striking out, man. It's weird. I've had like bad shit happen to me that I got over quicker than striking out with the bases loaded.
Yeah, I can imagine. I never played. Baseball is another sport I never played competitively. Wish I did. Wish I had. I always wished I had, and for some reason it never happened. I don't know why.
Oh, you would have cleaned up. You would have cleaned. Well, then again, you didn't start. You told you were about 25, so yeah, maybe you wouldn't have. But yeah, you might have come to your conclusion a little earlier.
Yeah, you're right. Perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, I play. It was. I don't know if it's like more revealing than soccer and basketball, but it's definitely an opportunity to hold a big wooden stick in your hands, swing it at a ball. Like there's something about repeatedly doing that probably puts you in a certain mood. I wouldn't know since I didn't do it, but we're speculating. And obviously you came out of the smelling of roses, heterosexual roses. So yeah, but the few times I would just play casually and just make contact, it fucking hurt like hell.
It does.
It hurts like hell to hit a baseball.
Oh, it's true. And I believe Tim Belcher just did the cardinal sin of walking the pitcher. He just walked Dave Stewart.
When you walk the pitcher,
is gay too? Is Carney Lansford's scouting report gay
first
too?
Pitch,
keep ball in on hands. Yep, that's gay.
Keep on. Yeah, there we go. Can hit high pitch with some power. Yeah, just like like a femboy. Like you can hit the high pitch with some power. Pariah the doll. You know what I mean?
Jesus. Yeah. But yes. I never thought that would come across. That's why you pay to hear the back wall, man.
That's exactly. There's nowhere else you're going to get this level of analysis. That's why, sure.
If we're nothing else, we're one of a kind. Like for sports, there's a thing. I know what happens this inning, and did that hit the bat?
Oh my God! Another. Now it's going to get. Now we're talking.
That shouldn't be he wouldn't want to do that intentionally either, though, because I would love.
Why would he?
That would be.
But they're going to take. But such is toxic masculinity that he's going to take it intentionally.
Wow.
He's going to take intent. That's how world wars start.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, the fucking Duke Ferdinand of like, oh, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
But
Carney Lansford's a
we have
prick, by the way. Carney Lansford, I've met him. His son, I played a game against his son in high school, Jared Lansford, and I've met him before. And I just like went to shake his hand, and he like wouldn't even shake my hand, type thing. And it was not like a crowded environment, like where he's just trying to leave. And he just looked at me. He's just like, okay. I said, hey man, I just grew up a big A's fan and stuff. And he's like, okay, and then just walked away.
You know things are rough when it's the second inning and the Dodgers have Timothy Leary warming up in the bullpen. The fuck? Who was that?
Yeah. Tim Belcher. Timothy Leary, wasn't he like didn't he bomb? Wasn't Timothy Leary like a terrorist or something?
Basically, he was Timothy Leary was the Timothy Leary is the LSD activist of the 60s.
Oh,
he's the big acid guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he sold to people who did crazy shit. Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah. He made it more accessible and more inclusive. Made LSD more intersectional and inclusive. We have the bases loaded. Carney Lansford.
This is just getting, if you're a Dodger fan, and the funny thing to me is this is a game that made LA, that like cemented the Dodgers in the hearts of LA, despite the fact that they would win nothing for years to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only 3 fucking years old, so I didn't benefit from this. It's like a little way, like for me, the Dodgers might as well be the Cubs. They had never won anything until they finally won this fake ass World Series, the COVID World Series. That was their first World Series win of my conscious life.
Yeah.
Because it's like, anyway, I'm just like venting because like
mm-hmm.
I hated the fact that I had to grow up with the idea that the Dodgers were good, even though they were more hopeless than the Red Sox and more hopeless than the Cubs.
Yeah.
Like on the regs. And yet they had all the kind of moral support, fuck them, fuck the Cubs and fuck the Red Sox. No offense to Chicago fans. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about the whole milking the curse thing. I've made it abundantly clear on here. I mean, I don't feel the need to restate it, but like, the Cubs, and it's like the Cubs is just like, dude, like you guys just, I mean, Dusty Baker, the Steve Bartman thing was hilarious because like that's another Dusty Baker joint where he just completely had another meltdown, just like in 2002 when he pulled out Russ Ortiz when he was pitching a shutout, and then brought in I want to say Felix Rodriguez, who gives up a 3-run home run to Scott Spezio, and then in Game 6, and they lose the World Series in Game 7 to a rookie named John Lackey, who ended up pitching a long time in the league, but the time is just a Game 7 rookie, and you lose to there. But it's the Cubs. I mean, it's just like the Cubs. It's like I respect Chicago. I love Chicago. I know you're a fan as well, but I love it.
I do too. Yeah.
I love actually some of the nicest sports fans I've ever met are from Chicago. Like when I was out there, I've been out there twice, and I was out there just like at sports bars and stuff and talking to guys watching the game and stuff. And they're just like just good, knowledgeable, like good natured people. They know about your team as well as theirs. Like it's really nice. Like really, really good people. So I'll say that. But Chicago, the Cubs, it's nice a fucking people. Goat. Why'd you kick the Billy Goat guy out of the stadium? That's all I'm gonna say. Like what? Like
that's
I don't know.
True.
What the like? What was that?
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough, but that was the big argument that they had.
Strike 3. Will Belcher get out of the inning? And we're going to keep the sound on for this one because something kind of crazy happens.
Oh, yeah.
We get a nice Vin Scully.
Let's hear what Vin has. Yeah.
Not been a great strikeout pitcher. His high this year, 8, and he did that 3 times. He has already rung up 3. And now with 2 down, the biggest confrontation of the night. The bases loaded, and Jose Canseco.
Woo! The first 11 batters, he's at a 3-2 count. You talk about living dangerously.
One ball and no strikes. Hubbard at third, Stewart at second, Lansford at first. Canseco hit by a pitch in the first inning.
Very interesting relationship.
Has never hit a grand slam in his career. He's never hit a grand slam in his career.
Never hit.
Till now.
There's a drive to center. Back goes Shelby to the wall. It is gone. Grand slam home run for Jose Canseco.
And look where he hit it. Over the center field fence, a line drive. It didn't get up. It didn't get down. It just got out.
And that is when everyone in the stadium shits they pants.
This is game one, statement game by the team with the Bash brothers. What could go wrong?
Makes Tommy Lasorda sit quietly, and that's quite a trick. It took a grand slam home run to do it.
That's quite a trick. I mean, just brilliant.
God, he's great.
He's just sit quietly, and they show him sitting there, and it's just like, it's just perfect. It's just like
as Dave Parker checks in.
It's great. So we can skip ahead, and we will, because there's not a whole lot that happens after this until we get near the end. And
oh my God, Vinny. You know, another thing about it is, you know, you believe I'd be beyond the fact that the Dodgers had the hearts of LA after this, because of this. And because of much obviously success before that, and going back to Fernando Mania. I mean, you know, baseball, I don't know if people realize this, but baseball is a really, like, it's a very apt sport for LA, which is like to be stuck in traffic for several hours, slowly moving. Like, it's like watching a baseball game, just driving through LA. It makes sense. LA might be like, oh, it's too slow. No. It fits perfectly the long, congested, you know, the way of life in LA. And I think that's why it's so popular in LA. And like, I don't know where I was going with this, but it also makes sense. It's like it's long and slow. It's broken up. It's got this lore attached to it. Mexicans are good at it. It's just like LA. Baseball's LA. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally.
Fernando Mania was a big deal.
Oh God, it was. Yeah, it's you know, okay, Fernando Mania. That was, so my mom was a big A's fan. So when the Dodgers really hurt her in this series, because she wasn't really she was living in, I believe it, if she wasn't living in LA, she was not the A's fan she was when they did a three-peat in the 70s. She was just maybe not as into baseball. But when she met my dad in the early maybe mid 80s, he got her really into baseball because he's an encyclopedia, and he would take her to games all the time. And, you know, I'm sure she thought Jose Canseco was quite a nice looking man, and, you know, things like that. But she, you know, I'm sure that didn't hurt in getting her into baseball. But you know, my dad was also hurt by the Dodgers, because the Yankees used to whip up on the Dodgers in World Series in the 70s with the Reggie Jackson, Son of Sam type crazy summer stuff that was happening in New York. Like, and then Fernando Mania, they killed the Yankees. My dad was like this fat Mexican, like all year. He didn't say this, but I know he would have probably at this time, was like, you know, we get all year, we're the Yankees, we're the Bronx Bombers. We have this, you know, kind of like entitlement to the title. And this fat Mexican gets in our way. And Steve Garvey. Those are two guys that get in my dad wouldn't even. I met Steve Garvey and Tony Gwynn in a parking lot at Qualcomm Stadium on that trip I was talking about earlier. I met them in this day. I freaked out. I was like, fucking Tony Gwynn. And like, I didn't know who Steve Garvey was, because it was a little before my time. But my dad, he goes, spit on that guy's shoe when you go over to say hi to Tony Gwynn. Spit on the guy and the older gentleman next to him. I was like, you know, he didn't mean that, but he was like, fuck Steve Garvey. So my dad shook Tony Gwynn's hand, but not Steve Garvey's hand. Insane.
You know,
Tony Gwynn was a great guy, by the way. Very nice man, Tony Gwynn. Yeah.
He seemed like a very nice guy. You know, he seemed like the kind of
jolly man.
Yeah, jolly man. Like, he seemed like the kind of guy that like would have a body shop or something, and like always fix shit for free for you.
Totally.
And, like, yeah.
Just wearing overalls, showing up to your place with a bag of tools.
Yeah, bag of tools at all times, being helpful and kind. Why did he die, or am I imagining that?
Mouth cancer, yeah, mouth cancer.
Jesus.
The Joe Garagiola banned tobacco didn't work on Tony Gwynn, because he coached San Diego State baseball for years. Wow. After he retired.
He died but he was young.
Yeah, 50 something. And you think, like, because he was kind of a big boy, he was kind of a big dude. Young. You would think it would have been like a heart attack or something, but nah, it was mouth cancer. Yeah, sad. Just sad stuff.
That like, sucks.
Yeah, no, I mean, just,
you know what, I'm going to say something really controversial here.
What?
Fuck cancer.
Damn. Yeah. You know what?
I had to say
I'm
that.
gonna have
You
to
know, I had
cut
to get
that
that
out,
off my
dude.
chest.
Look, I don't even
Okay,
trust
I'm
the
sorry.
paywall. I don't even trust the paywall to get, to weed out people, because that could really get
I
us in
know.
trouble.
We can't risk big cancer finding out that we have an anti-cancer position.
We really don't, especially me. I
Yeah,
can't let that
especially
be
you.
known to my yeah, especially me. I can't let that be known that I don't like cancer. Yeah, but after really steeping myself in the pro cancer stuff, but
Yeah, to the
yeah,
pro cancer waters, you know.
you've been
I mean,
sucking from
listen,
the
you know,
teat of the pro
every
cancer thing, really into microplastics and stuff like that. But yeah,
yeah.
that Tony Gwynn, man, that was a fun time. I still have the program. I used to buy a program from every stadium I went to, which, if people don't realize, that's just like the magazine of the day for the stadium.
Yeah,
And
right.
it would have, or probably the week more like it, but they would put the roster in there. So that way, if you were at a game, they didn't have jumbotrons yet at a lot of stadiums. So you'd look in your program, you'd be like, oh, number 24, that's Luis Gonzalez or whatever, anything like that. And so Tony Gwynn and Steve Garvey both signed that program. I still have it, and it's like this. And
That's
on
nice.
the front was Trevor Hoffman was on the front of the program, the great Hell's Bells closer.
Oh yeah, he could close. That guy could close.
Nasty changeup.
That guy could close. He had that. He was one of those like stalwarts. And you know, he could close like the best salesman you've ever met. And I wanted to say something though. Another thing people used to do, even up until my day, and this is either supremely charming, supremely retarded, or both. Um, they used to in the program they would give you a scorecard, and people would, like, with a pencil, keep score
Oh, totally.
throughout the game. A game in which there is a scoreboard that keeps the score for everybody. You were occupying your complete boredom with the act of writing in the score. And you know what? I get it.
Yeah. Oh, I
It's
totally get
insane
it.
to me.
Yeah. You feel in
I'll
control.
get-
You feel included. It's like, it's just, it's totally.
It's like you're filling out a crossword puzzle, except there's no challenge whatsoever, except to make sure that you don't, to make sure that you're watching the game. It's like you're reminding yourself you're watching the game. You want to record the hits, the walks, the errors, or whatever. I don't know if walks are part of it.
Everything,
you know what I
anything that
mean,
happens on the game. You would do balls and strikes. You do little tally marks for balls and strikes on the little box.
there you go.
Each batter. Yeah, no, everything. You couldn't not pay attention to the game. Like, if you miss something,
Yeah. It's like the subtitles.
The pro move to do in that scenario, and I knew somebody that used to do this, and it wasn't very fun to go to games with, because he couldn't talk to him. He had to pay attention, but he wasn't very fun to go to games with. But I had a family member, and he would have those yellow Walkman headphones that would wrap around your head from like the 90s. I don't know if anyone remembers those. And he would be listening on a radio to the broadcast of the game he's at.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Remember those guys? And keeping score. So then he would be able to reference. He would have a little reference point. Yeah. Be like, oh, that was my bad. It was a 2-2 count where that happened, and he could rectify it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what the modern day people would call autistic, I believe. I think that's what they would call that.
Yeah.
And now, but there is a logical, something about the radio. I mean, I remember people bringing literal just radios with them.
It was nice.
And I'm getting the tail end of this these habits, but when I'm really young, but like still, yeah, but it would make sense. People would want to listen to Vin Scully while they're in Dodger Stadium, and that makes 100% of the sense. Like, I would want to listen to Vin Scully if I were watching a baseball game. If I could get him on my earphones,
yeah,
I would that would actually be cool. I think, you also want to like listen to the life outside of you. So there is a bit of a contrast there, but I wouldn't mind having a little radio with him blaring by my ass and guiding me through this long evening. Like, just, that's what he's doing. He's master of space and time. Everything has its own challenges. And in baseball, you've got 4 hours and just you, and nothing is happening. 90% of the time, 99% of the time, nothing is happening. And you have to fill that air with your words. You have to just pitch words at the audience whenever they're ready to swing. And it's like, it's amazing. And he would do it with this mixture of, obviously narrating what's happening when it's happening, rare time, but he would just tell stories. Like he had a whole, just every single day, he had endless amounts of stories, and they never seemed to repeat. I never remember him repeating a story twice, unless it was like a detail maybe that was like so specific. But like he would have, back in the day, one time he showed up and like there was a bird that flew out, and there was the first apothecary, it was the first bird-based triple play, and he'd have a whole long story to tell about every single player who came up, about any kind of little just thing that triggers him, and he would tell it, like, to fill that time too. So it was like this a real grab bag of verbal gifts from the Irishman.
I remember when I was my dad had splurged for MLB Extra Innings, which was like a direct TV package. Like right when it first started, my parents didn't have a lot of money, but they always had good TV. It was like that was like the thing that we would like have that was premium. Like even if hey, maybe don't run the heater tonight, but we got our MLB package so my dad can watch the Yankees every day. Whenever that became popular, so we'd watch broadcasts. And there was a guy named Chad Bradford. With the Dodgers were playing somebody with that had Chad Bradford on. Chad Bradford was a submarine pitcher. It was a reliever. He played for the A's for a while, and then he went somewhere else. And he was at this current National League team. And he was a submarine guy. His knuckle would sometimes hit the ground when he would throw. It was so weird. And but he was an odd guy, and he was a redneck. And Vin Scully was telling a story about how his family owns a very successful cricket farm. And he would just go, and in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the Bradford Cricket Farm is really what powers the town, not the Crimson Tide, and it's just so funny, man. Just like it was so good, and it wasn't like, people tried to copy him. The San Francisco Giants, it's sacrilege to say it, but I don't like them, so I'll say it. But like they have Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper as their announcers, and they are just like epic, man. Like they are just, everything's about them is epic. They try to do the small talk, but it feels like they're being told in through their earpiece that they have to do it, and they're doing like this like pan the crowd and let's make fun of everybody in the stands, and it doesn't have any charm to it. And I also hate the Giants, so I'm probably just being a bitter little hater because everybody seems to like them. But when Vin Scully does it, it's just so eloquent, and he's able to take little pot shots at Tommy Lasorda. Guess why? Because he doesn't care if Tommy Lasorda doesn't like him. Vin Scully would keep his job before, they'd get rid of Tommy Lasorda before they get rid of Vin Scully, and they did. So he didn't care about that. He was a man who knew he was secure. He was a man who was in charge of what he said, right? He was a man. I mean, yeah, obviously he couldn't say, fuck and shit, but that's not what he wanted to say. So he was pretty much able to say whatever he wanted because he knew, man, he had leverage over everybody.
No, he was the most popular man in LA, as I said, like, well, literally because zero haters.
No, you can't even hate him if you want.
Imagine being but imagine being any kind of show business figure today and having zero haters. That's not possible.
Can't do it.
Like there would be, if there was a modern day Vin Scully, there would be 30% of there would be like haters. There would be a bunch of haters. Vin Scully did not have one fucking hater, including anywhere else in the country.
No, even Giants fans, like when he passed away, I was hoping I didn't see any like, smirking comments from like a couple Giants fans. I mean, the most I saw was Vin Scully like narrating Barry Bonds' home runs against the Dodgers. Like they'd post clips, which that's fine. I mean, hey,
that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's a fine rival move. That's very respectful. Totally.
Sure. Yeah.
Totally. Because it's still Vin Scully. It's still you saying, yeah, that's fine.
It's still Vin Scully. It's still the fact. It's still you can't talk shit. You can't talk shit about Vin Scully, and it's not just that you can't talk shit. You'd feel icky about talking shit. you do not have. He was so singularly excellent at what he did, and in such a lovable way that nobody feels comfortable just taking a shit on Vin Scully. Like, it just would be so vile. It would just be so, you would feel so degraded and
Totally.
debased after you did something like, it would be like a crime against humanity. It would
Well,
be
and
like something the
Mexicans would
United
kill you.
Nations would condemn.
Mexicans would training day
Even
style
the
like rape you
Mexicans would kill you. Yeah.
They would come to your house and just be
Nobody.
like,
And
yeah, kill you. You're done.
I'm just like, who else in history? I mean, we have, okay, there are detractors of the fucking Beatles. You know, there are detractors of
Boy,
Charlie
are there.
Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, but what, like, excuse me, it just boggles my mind that how could you imagine another creature being so universally beloved? I just can't. Amanda
Yeah.
Milius. I mean, you know, it's like, it's hard.
Right.
She's someone who's everyone loves, but like, it's hard, you know.
Yep. So I have a question, because I know, you know, maybe you don't know the most about this guy, because I always see him, and Dodgers have so many constants. They had Lasorda for a long time. They had obviously Vin Scully. Who's that guy with the radar gun? They keep showing him on behind the plate with the little fedora, like the very like noir like crime movie. You see the guy with the white fedora?
Yeah.
Who is that guy? He always had this. That guy's like a thing. He's like a thing for the Dodgers, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the guy who that used to be a job. The guy who does the radar gun, operates the radar gun.
Right,
And he was
right.
like lovable character who did it for decades, kind of thing. I remember him in my day. He was still doing it, wearing the same fucking hat, cigar, perhaps at some points, and until that was outlawed. But like, yeah, it was like a guy. That's the thing. These teams also had guys who would just like be there for 60 fucking, like we were talking about the Jerry Buss in the Winning Time episode with that boys club. Like, there are guys who would just be part of the program, the part of the organization, their entire fucking lives for decades. And you would just see them around, and they would just become these fixtures. Tommy Lasorda was essentially that, by the way, as a manager. But, you know, like, even these other positions, like the organist is another one. The one playing the organ. You know, someone who's like who did it for like
the PA announcer, the
batting. PA announcer, exactly. These people would become like, they become like fixtures, like local, you know, city, like the town, like literally the town crier.
Yeah, totally. The A's just lost theirs, who had been there since like the 60s, I think. Like and like it's funny for like guys who had stayed with the team for the last couple of years. If they were still there, they would still save the recording of that guy to announce. Like, for like, if a guy had been on the team while this dude was still alive, it would be like, you know, you'd still hear it when you at the game, like, oh shit, Roy Steele, you know. And there's Dennis Eckersley in the bullpen. Dennis Eckersley looked like he was like a guitarist for like the Eagles or something. If you're not, I mean, if you're just listening to the audio, I advise you to switch to the video, especially for baseball. It's really nice. It will add the accent to our conversation. People still don't seem to realize that there's a video component to this. So there is a video component. We are watching the game. We're not talking about the game. We are watching it and then talking about other things. That is what's happening. But Dennis Eckersley is in the bullpen. Very odd, weird 3/4 delivery, but was electric. He had single-digit walks I believe in this season, which as a closer, one thing you don't want to do is walk anybody. Like you give up your home run, you take your licks. Like, but the thing you don't want to do is walk guys, because that creates a mountain of issues and is a little bit more alarming for the long term of your careers when you cannot throw strikes. That's like the one thing you need to do as a closer. But Dennis Eckersley is having the year of his life, and he was a rehabbed kind of has been starting pitcher for the Cleveland Indians and he's coming in the game right now. And we will play the entire situation where Kirk Gibson comes up to the plate. I don't know who he pinch hits for, so I'll have to be on the lookout for that. But Eckersley then finds a home with the A's as a closer, and he becomes the best closer in baseball. Right now, he is the best closer in baseball. And there's Ron Hassey, by the way. He thought my mom was hot one time and gave her a baseball one time.
Well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. No, my mom was like, she's like, oh, back in my day.
Let's see how.
it's kind of crazy.
let's take a look at him and see if there's any resemblance between you and him.
No, I'm a spitting image of my dad, thank God, because I wouldn't want to speculate on that at all. Like if I didn't look anything like my dad, I'd be like, Ron, man, Marvin Hasse.
Yeah, no, no, it's good to be a spitting image of your dad. Honestly.
Yeah. It's like there, you didn't need Maury, so you just look at me as like we look exactly the same at each point in our life where we were the same age, like it's kind of crazy. But so it looks like, is Gibson coming up now? No, so there needs to be a runner on base, so we'll wait till the runner gets on base before this happens, and we'll play Vin Scully announcing when a runner comes on base.
Yeah, when he's I'd love
it's an all-time baseball moment.
And another thing is, like, I only know old Vin Scully. Like, I only know the last 20 years of a very long career. And so like it's just interesting to be like, oh, these guys were young at some point. I don't know, when he hit his prime, or like when he got as great as he got, or like if he was it like an arc where he got better and better, because there's no way he had all the stories when he was. It
would be like if you only knew Labyrinth and later David Bowie. You'd be like, oh my God, there's all this 70s and 80s like wonderful, like just insane like character iterations that he's doing. Like there's like you just be like, well, yeah, the rest of it was still really good, and Labyrinth is an all timer like for children of that, that era, all this stuff. But like you're not wrong for doing that. But it's like, hey man, you'll go in the past, you'll even see some crazier shit.
Yeah. It's and what's funny that I'm just thinking about now. And I think this applies for ourselves as well, because it always depends on the way you're like on the level of generosity you're having when you're judging yourself and other people. But like, I find that a lot of the times you look at someone's young stuff, like when they were younger, obviously before they hit their prime, they were too young or whatever. It's always surprisingly good.
He's putting his helmet on.
Like I feel like you always like, he's playing with the helmet.
He's putting his helmet on, so I mean,
like
he's coming up on deck circle. So yeah. But anyways, go on, please.
Yeah. Are we in the?
This is the ninth. This is the inning it happens. This is the inning that it happens. Yeah.
Are we there?
Yes, we are there. Yeah. So this is
the inning. Okay. This is the
Mike Davis.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, no, I'm sure there was really. Yeah, Mike Davis. Oh, right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking that, like, I'm sure he was like really good when he was young too. In a different way, probably in a more piped up way.
Oh, Dennis Eckersley's gonna be so pissed at that right there. That's an unwritten rule in baseball, is when the umpire grants timeout too late and the pitcher has to still throws the pitch, because then the batter knows what pitch what your strategy was. It was like a free, and then you also can't stop once you get going, because you will blow out your arm that way if you try to like stop when you're at full force. Which, everybody knows, every man knows about that when you're all built up, and sometimes you just can't stop.
What a completely pointless statistic is currently being shared.
Oh yeah.
And it's still showing. It's the most pointless.
NBC graphics team not at their best today.
Meaningless. It literally, if you're only listening and not watching the video, it literally said, in the last 10 years, the team that has lost the game one of the World Series has gone on to win the series 7 out of 10 times. What does that tell you exactly?
Yeah,
absolutely fucking nothing.
It didn't ring true for this series, so it's like
it didn't ring true for this series, and it's a completely meaningless, random, just arbitrary and completely like just a zero. But there it is, and that's the thing, that one of these guys, one of the Vin Scully subs for the Dodgers, the other teams that would they would go back and forth from radio to TV, and one of the other teams, there was this guy, I'm trying to forget his name.
Ross Porter.
I forget.
His name was Ross Porter, and he was Vin Scully's overall broadcast partner from 1977 to 2004. I'm very mean to him, even though now I think about him really fondly. He was really funny. Mr. Crazy Stats Magoo. Again, I say overall partner because they never actually broadcast at the same time. Vin would do a few innings for the radio, switch over to TV, and then Ross would do the radio, and that's how it usually worked. They kind of rotated radio to TV, but when Vin Scully was doing Dodger games, he was solo all the time. The clips we've been playing in this show are from World Series games he was doing for national TV, and that's why you hear
he was the master,
Ross
or it was like
Horner.
Todd something. I got to think of it because he was like, he sounded super drunk, kind of like the guy in Major League, and he was the master of absolutely useless statistics, like that. He would rain on you.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, here's Kirk Gibson. Okay, let's see what he has to say. Commander excited. Just use it. Everyone's the thing is, they're already super excited that he's even coming up. This is Casey at the bat. Like, this is when you could get super excited about a single player.
To set the scene, because I'm sure Vin will more so just narrate it in a roundabout way, so people who don't follow sports or baseball or anything. Kirk Gibson has a career he's at the later part of his career. During this, he was a Detroit Tiger for a while. The '84 World Series that the Tigers won, I want to say that was '84. He had a big home run in that. Like, he's kind of been like a folk hero. It was a very, very good player, but like was more so like the clutch guy that analytics people.
Robert Horry or something.
Very good comparison. I think that's Manu Ginobili, like just those random guys that like would just randomly win a series for you, and you'd be like, what the hell? Yeah, and like, but still very good on his own. He was a 2-sport star. He was a Michigan State football player. He was a running back at Michigan State. Insane. And that was back when you could have white running backs. And he was very, very good. He looks like a man who did like full frontal nudity movies in the 70s. Like, when you look at him, or like the 80s, like he looks like a very like free kind of like Burt Reynolds-y kind of guy, like, and just like oozes like saltiness to him as far as the character, just that grizzled veteran. And he's playing, I want to say it was on a broken leg, or at least something structurally horribly wrong with his leg, where he shouldn't have been playing in this game, and the Dodgers were going to miss him for this series. And but he's walking out to the plate for a last chance. Now, this is only game 1 of a 7-game series, but you can set the tone here. Despite what that meaningless stat said, you can get in the driver's seat here, and you definitely don't want to lose at home, especially to the A's. And Kirk Gibson is coming up, and what you're about to witness magic, and you'll also witness magic being narrated by Magic. So not Magic Johnson, but Magic itself. the sentient form of magic will happen. So here we go.
All year long, they looked to him to light the fire, and all year long, he answered the demands until he was physically unable to start tonight with 2 bad legs. The bad left hamstring and the swollen right knee. And with 2 out, you talk about a roll of the dice. This is it. If he hits the ball on the ground, I would imagine he would be running 50% to first base. So the Dodgers
he's very David Lynch sometimes when he talks.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, there's that same nasal.
Fouled away.
Oh, look at his legs.
Oh, God. He almost broke in half.
Complaining about the fact that with the left knee bothering him, he can't push off. Well, now he can't push off and he can't land.
He's going to use all arms. Look at this crowd on its feet. What a tribute.
The way they're talking about it, it's like he literally has no limbs.
9th inning, not a bad opening act.
Not a bad opening act.
Mike Davis, by the way, has stolen 7 out of 10. If you're wondering about Lasorda throwing the dice again.
Lasorda throwing the dice again. Just, I'm going to feel.
Fouled away again.
And he's standing on an outside
I feel like listening to him for hours
with
now.
Davis, he just
0-2
missed,
count.
Here's 2 quick strikes, both fastballs that kind of tail away the outside part. Hasse is not even flirted with the inside part of that plate.
You saw Dave Duncan gesturing. He was gesturing to Carney Lansford at third. 0-2 to Gibson. The infield is back with 2 out and Davis at first. Now Gibson during the year, not necessarily in this spot, but he was a threat to bunt. No way tonight, no wheels.
They're pretty deep in the outfield and a lot of room. They're playing him straight away in center field.
Also the musicality of the speech.
He's a threat now with 2 strikes.
Oh. Yeah, the completely moronic booing every time the pitcher throws to first base.
Oh, hate it.
Little nubber.
Oh.
Foul.
Oh, that was almost the most
saddest
conclusion.
Gibson was so banged
up. No, yeah, that part being
half
the base, half the way to
come out onto the field before the game.
You can really see the limp. He's not driving that ball. It was by him.
He's not driving that ball.
He's really almost has to talk.
The point here is that there's literally no way he'll be able
to
to make it to first base unless he hits the ball deep.
But you can't favor
Like,
two.
No way, and that's what he's trying to do. He really is.
Is this it? I think this is it.
Both legs are completely useless.
He can't hit your fastball, Dennis. Don't throw the slider. Don't throw your trademark slider.
Ball one. And a
Ball
throw
one.
down to first. Davis just did get back. Good play by Ron Hasse using
Are
Gibson
we
as
2
a
outs?
screen. He took a shot
No,
at
I
the
believe it's
runner,
only
and
one.
Mike Davis didn't see it for that split second, and that made it close.
A lot of times what you do, you'll give a sign to the first baseman, say, now be there. They call it now
Yeah,
be there.
Stosha got out, and then the other guy walked.
14 fastballs in a row.
close.
That's all he's been throwing.
There goes Davis, and it's fouled away.
Whoa.
So Mike Davis, who had stolen 7 out of 10 and carrying the tying
There
run,
goes
was on the
Davis.
move.
They wanted to give Gibson a good shot at it with 2 strikes, but with the 2 strikes, Davis a threat, as we said, because the blue pin will score that big run.
Gibson shaking his left leg, making it quiver like a horse trying to get rid of a troublesome fly.
That was David Lynch. That was a David Lynch thing to say right there.
Yeah, troublesome fly. Yes.
Mike Scioscia can only sit now and sweat it out. He led off the inning and popped up. Tony La Russa is 1 out away from win number 1.
Here's the big pitch. He's got to make it happen on this one.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out.
And one of his favorite phrases was
Those
when there was
extra steps that
two
Davis
balls,
will
2
get,
strikes,
the
2
count
out.
goes to 3
So
and
there's
2
2
are
out.
very big.
This is called
So
deuces
Hasse
wild.
and
You
Eckersley
would say
want that
deuces
decision
wild.
decision
Yeah.
right here.
There he goes, way outside. He's stolen it.
Wow. Easy to steal bases on closers. They're not used to holding
Hasse
runners on.
started to throw and kind of bumped
Yeah.
Gibson, but it was way too late. Davis was way down there.
People
almost
did
as
it
if
to Mariano
he could've
Rivera
walked in.
constantly.
Not a bad pitch to handle for Hasse outside. Now watch when he starts to throw. Look at Gibson. And Harvey says, no.
He was
had
thinking
the
about my
base
mom.
stolen.
He couldn't throw her out.
So Mike Davis, the tying run, is at second base with 2 out. Now the Dodgers don't need the muscle of Gibson as much as a base hit. And on deck is the leadoff man, Steve Sachs. 3 and 2.
Full count.
Full count.
Sachs waiting on deck, but the game right now is at the plate. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
Wow. The limp.
And now he gets up from his chair. He goes to the back of the booth and he fills himself a cup of coffee.
Yeah. And Kirk Gibson did the fist pump right there. That was Eckersley's celebration, by the way. That was a shot at Eckersley.
And as he sips on his coffee, much like Mr. Lynch might,
Yeah.
he lets the crowd call the rest of the game.
I love it. Pregnant pause, my friend. Nice pregnant pause. Prolonged one. Just like David Lynch's conversations where there's awkward silences in all his shows and movies where you're not sure what the issue is. Vin Scully, but you trust him. You've already trusted him. He's already won your trust over.
What
Visually.
more is there to say when the man with no legs hits a fucking home run to win Game 1 of the World Series?
Yeah.
What more is there to say? He has said nothing since the word gone.
It has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
And that is the line they always replay.
Man. He looks like an aging male porn star too.
Yeah, he really does. I feel like all right, we need to get P.T. Anderson to make a movie about this fucking game.
Yeah.
Like just his game.
Totally. He could totally
it's
get
insane.
that. Yeah. It's nuts.
He can barely, this fucker who's Boogie Nights motherfucker could barely get around the base pads. He does the great chainsaw fist thing that he just did there.
The Dennis Eckersley. It was a shot at Dennis Eckersley, by the way. He even said it.
Right. It was that's just and perfectly timed. I mean, this is just amazing the way he's hobbling down. I can't stop looking at it.
Look at the sword's reaction. The penguin.
The impossible. In a year, what was it? In a year of the improbable, the impossible has happened, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, you're exactly.
Yeah.
And Eckersley, a great shot of Eckersley's face. Eckersley's so cool too. He'll talk about it all the time. He's like, yeah, he goes, and to be honest, Kirk Gibson, when you're a hitter, look at that shot, dude. And when Kirk Gibson, because I've watched a lot of stuff on this, it's a huge moment in baseball. Like there's all types of stuff on it, but like Eckersley, when you're a hitter and the pitch, you get in swing mode when you're constantly fouling balls off, and you're at 2 strikes, you're just swinging at everything, just trying to make contact. And so it finally gets to 3-2. You're not expecting a slider, but Kirk Gibson said, "You know what? I think there's a slider coming," and it was the worst slider Dennis Eckersley ever thrown. It just was. They call it when a slider doesn't move. Right, when you throw a slider that just spins but doesn't actually break or do anything, they call that a cement mixer. So, like, that's a real term. So let's get a little audio from Kirk here. Kirk Gibson.
Have you ever had a feeling
Bob
like
Costas.
this?
Bob Costas.
Loser.
I guess the storybook. I was very disappointed today because I knew I couldn't play. I knew I'd be a detriment, and I got an injection today, and I was very sore, but I saw the opportunity. I knew we could get a guy on base. The pitcher was coming up, and I figured if I got out there and the fans started cheering, that I could suck it up for 1AB, and maybe something good would happen, and it happened.
How much pain were you in at the plate?
Well, it was tough. Pushing off my front foot, and my other hamstring was hurting me. I got 2 bad legs, but, when I got 2 strikes on, I just decided to buckle it down, and Mike got the second. I knew I really didn't have to hit a home run. I kind of was going to shorten up and try and drive the ball the other way, and I got a breaking ball that he got out. It was low, the ball I like to hit, and I was just fortunate. The good Lord gave me this wonderful moment.
Did you know it was gone the instant you hit it?
A pretty good idea, and we've had some tough times, but what a team. We've been saying it all year, and if it wasn't for my teammates, I wouldn't even have got the opportunity to remember this moment.
We were standing in the runway, and we could hear you taking batting practice off the tee back at the end of the tunnel. We didn't even think you'd be available for pinch hitting duty, and I know Lasorda walked back to talk to you. How did that conversation go?
Well, I've been in the training room all day or all night getting treatment, and in fact, I heard Vin Scully say they were panning the dugout looking for me, saying it didn't look like I was going to be able to play, and I said, that's enough. Went and put an ice bag on there and numbed my knee up best I could. Hit some off the tee in there, and I had a bat boy come in and ask Tommy to come in. I wanted to talk to him. I said, go ahead and pinch hit for Alfredo with Mike. If we get a guy on, I'll go in there and give you my best. I think I can do it and give you a good shot, and that's what it's all about.
Thoughts and images that went through your mind.
So I have to say, I'm anti-Bob Costas. I like him as an I think he's fine at actually doing what he does, but he's just been an annoying guy since COVID on baseball. He feels the need to tell unvaccinated players that they're killing people, and stuff. He's just one of those guys, like, where it's just like, no one cares about your fucking takes about that, Bob Costas. Like, you're not, I don't know, man. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I make it make sense to me, Bob Costas. It's not your job to worry about players' medical status. Like, oh God. Yeah. Anyways, but Kirk Gibson, legendary, absolutely legendary.
I still can't believe that this happened.
Yeah. Vin is
In
here.
a year of the improbable.
What a shirt too, man.
The impossible has happened.
Yeah. And then he's just
And
it's great, man. It's what a call. What a call. I mean, just the I still have it in my head. It's like he's shaking his legs like a horse. And a horse trying to get rid of a troublesome fly.
Yeah.
Which is David. That's like in my head. I almost sounded like David Lynch trying to say that. Like, Coop, yeah, I'm shaking my leg like trying to get rid of a troublesome fly. Coop, you know, like it's.
And he doesn't have any of this in the chamber. He's just fucking. What is he saying now? He just like he doesn't have that in the chamber. He just paints it as it goes. Like,
yeah, it's some people.
Is there still audio?
I can put it on. Yeah, let me.
Wondering what.
Bold look at Kohler. What a beautiful way to live. Tomorrow, start your day with NFL Live beginning at 12:30.
Oh, he's doing
then the NFL, and
I
at
still
8
like
o'clock
it.
Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Game 2 of the '88 World Series. For Joe Garagiola, this is Vin Scully saying good night from Dodger Stadium, where the Dodgers beat the A's 5-4.
Wonderful. Just wonderful stuff.
And he'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
He'll be back for another however many hours you need him tomorrow.
Yeah. So anyways, I've kept you up for a long time. This will probably be a little shorter than our other ones, but I'm glad we were able to get one out. But anyways, any closing thoughts on what we just saw? I mean, that was quite the game. You know, like I said, I promise you, we didn't miss much in the middle there. It was really, it's a game of like 3 innings. It was a 3-inning game, basically. There were 3.
But there's one thing tying that long stretch time that we couldn't even imagine having to doing a play-by-play for this podcast. It would take forever. We would kill ourselves. But there's one show going on during those dead fucking innings, and that is Vin Scully. And Vin Scully is filling those innings up for you, man. And that's what he was doing day after day after day for 55 years, 162 days a fucking year. Like, it boggles my mind. And the part that's so cool is that you look at this, it's like this was literally, when he says the impossible happened, it fucking seems impossible. Like, if you watch this with us and you watch that at bat, this guy cannot fucking stand on 2 legs with a, let alone hit a fucking home run, let alone win a World Series game with it. It's like crazy. It's crazy to happen. And you get to see like miracles like this happen repeatedly when you're observing the game, like Vin is. So over his career, he had this, he was in a way blessed with this role of narrating miracles and seeing them like, actual miracles, like they actually seem like miracles. Obviously the stakes are not that high, but nevertheless they sure do feel like miracles when you see things like this happen, and they sure do happen eventually.
Yeah, what a it was, no one could say they were shocked by Vin Scully's death. No one could say that, right? He was in mid 90s when he passed away. I mean, he
was late, yeah. And it felt like he deserved, he lived one of those long lives. And I remember, he used to live in Palisades. I can't remember if I ever saw him out in the wild, but but like many people used to around me. He had it was a sweet wife, sweetest life. Like, he was everything you would think. Sweetest person, sweetest life. And he just he lived a long life, and it feels like, just like the founding fathers did. The founding fathers also all lived like 90 back then. Like, and it's like, that somehow that some of that works. These wizards like John Wooden too,
totally.
Right? Coach Wooden, who I had the pleasure of 3 hours with in his apartment when he was a mere 93, died at 100, died at 99 actually. It's like, these wizards deserve to live a long time. The founder of the KKK, no, not that wizard, but these other wizards, they deserve to live. And he had that kind of long life. He got he was the perfect man for the perfect city, and he had the perfect life. Like, I really, he worked until the age of 85, like, brilliant. what more can you ask for? He did this until the age of 85. He was the city's grandpa.
That's
Like
good.
really perfect.
Yeah.
What a life, what a man. Rest in peace, Vin Scully.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, he's wonderful. I'm my personal he's the objective best ever in my opinion. I mean, like, or not in my opinion, objectively, he's the best. And my personal favorite is Al Michaels, just as far as like if I want a big game on. And I fear that day when I don't get to hear. I mean, even not even so much him dying, but just him deciding to not do this anymore. He's already scaling back. Mike Tirico's doing Sunday Night Football,
Yeah.
right? It was weird. Like Vin Scully, I think it's Charlie Steiner and Rick Monday now. And like Charlie Steiner, I don't know, man. It's not for me. I've never been a big Charlie Steiner guy. So
I've never been a Charlie Steiner fan. I've never been a Rick Monday fan either. And the other guy whose name I have to find out because I keep on. It's a funny cute name. The man of the bazillion annoying statistics that like it was comical though, like how like it was like comical levels of like in the seventh inning of every Tuesday night game in which the moon was seen, the leadoff batters are only batting 190 against left-handers. It was like the most bizarre labyrinthine fucking statistics that nobody cared about and meant nothing. Like
if Wade Boggs doesn't eat jambalaya and chicken for dinner, then he's batting a mere 220, and it's like.
If I didn't know any better, I would suggest that Vin Scully intentionally surrounded himself with these absolute doofuses to seem even more legendary. Like they were so bad that they made you thirst for Vin Scully whenever you were stuck with them, instead of Vin, because he wasn't doing radio anymore. He was only doing TV or whatever. Little shufflings they did. Yeah. So I mean, just like incredibly these voices, like no matter who your voice is, it's a trigger that you can never replace.
Yeah, before podcast, you had a parasocial relationship with especially somebody like Vin who would be so in depth with stories, and so so like I don't want to say vulnerable, that's not a good way to say it, but just like an open book where not so much about himself, but just kind of making you feel like you're part of the knowledge that he gets from doing his job, where you're like, wow, I get to know a lot about these guys now too, It wasn't, for most of his career, there wasn't Google or Reddit or like any of these things where I could find factoids about players, like that was, you'd hear it from Vin Scully, hey, and at work, right? Because everyone watched the Dodger game because there weren't that many channels or something, the day at work, but hey, do you know that fucking story about, Keith Hernandez? Wow, crazy, like just, you could do that.
I remember my dad coming home being like, he told the most amazing story just now. There would be stories that would people would talk about that he would tell in the midst of these games. And you were saying it is a parasocial relationship. I mean, you're not it's a relationship, it's a thruple, because you're really a relationship, it's a triangle with the team. It's in a way, it's almost like it's almost like you and him. He's the fan, he's kind of like the fan messenger.
Sure.
And you're kind of like
the ambassador.
You're like the two Mormon wives of this beastly husband to the team. And you're sharing notes and some shit. So it's a really it's a very intimate, in a way, connection, and also useful one, and also and so like before podcasts and before you had like these podcasts that are 4 hours long, even with those, we're not doing 4-hour podcasts every day. This guy was out there every day for 4 hours. And during the season, it's almost 7 days a week. And so it's even more than like your favorite talk radio guy, which didn't exist until the 90s anyway. So you're really deep. You're really getting in deep with this person, and as part of your daily soundtrack.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I mean, I actually a couple months ago got to meet Glen Kuiper and Dallas Braden. Who Dallas Braden he pitched for the A's, and I watched him on Mother's Day throw a perfect game dedicated to his grandma. with my mom, who's a big A's fan. So that was always really fun. So I got a chance to tell them that. And it's like, I met Glen Kuiper, who was just like, he's been for not all of my life. Unfortunately, the A's had Bill King, but I only caught the tail end of Bill King, old Bill King, before he passed away. And he used to be just the Oakland announcer essentially for all three teams. But just even meeting him and just being like, wow, like the fourth wall's broken. Like I'm actually meeting the messenger, the team messenger, who's telling me everything about the team and stuff. It was insane. I met him. They were having lunch at the little, in this little like mezzanine area in the Oakland Coliseum. And I was just like, man, it was unbelievable. Any final thoughts? I think that was a very nice tribute to Vin Scully and an all around just fun moment of sports to watch.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't put in a good word for Farmer John hot dogs. Shitty as they are.
Yes.
You could make them better yourself. Find barbecue or broil the Dodger dog within. And maybe you too can speak like Vin. Maybe you too can pitch some words onto this world and carry us through our smoggy day.
This conversation with Glen Rockney was originally recorded for our sports show, The Back Wall, on August 10, 2022, the week Mr. Scully died. Follow The Back Wall at patreon.com/thebackwall for more of our screwball adventures in that cultural realm. The opening to this episode included the lyrics to Take Me Out to the Ball Game, the 1908 waltz penned by Jack Norworth and Albert von Tilzer, which was performed at a baseball game for the very first time at a high school in Los Angeles in 1934, before being sung at that year's World Series and becoming the anthem of the seventh inning stretch. Here it was voiced by your host to the music of traditional folk song, House of the Rising Sun. This episode was brought to you by Cracker Jack merchants, Scully singers, and O'Malley's of the Night who subscribe on Patreon. Join their elite dugout at patreon.com/filthyarmenian for twice the ball games and regular extra innings on topics of the day. For Vin Scully and Glen Rockney, this is your host, Alec Mohebian, saying so long from Filthy Armenian Stadia.